This video is brought to you by Sportland. Quality, integrity, and tradition.
This morning the customer's calling me and they said that the fan motors keep stopping. They said that yesterday this fan motor was blocked with ice, and then this morning this fan was kind of stopped up with ice. But I get here and everything's working. So let's get a ladder and pop my head up. They're also concerned about all the condensation that's frozen in the top of the ceiling, but look at those walls. The walls are completely bulging in like there's a problem. That's not I can't really solve that one. They got warm air intruding through the sides. Look at this, like all the way through the sides. The whole box is compromised. That's crazy. It's like ice got back behind the paneling and just pulled it apart. That's not a good thing. Nothing I can do about that. Yeah, that's really bad. So let me get a ladder and a jacket. We'll pop my head up there and see if it's all iced up or what. All right, I'm gonna start up here. Condensing unit's running. Both condenser fan motors are moving. Condenser doesn't look too bad. Let's get in this defrost clock panel right here. And I'm gonna throw this guy into defrost. And that'll give me an opportunity to see if all the defrost heaters are working. I haven't even gotten into the coil yet. The contactor looks suspect just from that white powdery carbon buildup stuff. That's not a good thing. God, I hate the wiring on these things. It's ugly. All right, well, let's go ahead and click it into a really long defrost. See if it pumps down and goes into defrost. So it typically has some sort of a defrost relay of some sort that doesn't allow the heaters to turn on. There we go. Although, this thing looks like, what the heck? Is this thing bypassed? This thing's bypassed. Because, yeah, this wire should be over here. Why the heck is that bypassed? That's odd. Essentially, that doesn't allow the defrost heaters to energize until the compressor contactor energizes or de-energizes. I don't like this style. I prefer just an auxiliary relay on the side of the contact. Okay, well, that's where we're at. I'm going to run downstairs now. All right, as far as ice goes, there's a little bit of ice in there, but not, it's hard for you guys to see. It's not a horrible amount. It's just in the drain pan. But check this out. This is what's sketch. All behind that. On both sides. This side over here too. That's sketch. It seems to just be ice at the front. And that would explain why they're saying that they got a broken fan guard too. But alright, so defrost heaters. That one's good. This one only has 2 defrost heaters. That one's good. Both the defrost heaters are good, but it's really weird because the ice is going forward. Like it's not sloped right? I wouldn't think that's the case. What I have seen, even the drain pan is pitched down. What the heck? I bet you it's like a plugged up coil. Let's get back there and open that guy up. You get a better look. There's like a piece of cardboard or something stuck in that drain back there. It's just gunk and it's causing a slow drain. So I think that's what's causing this just to accumulate up in the front. I got some big chunks out of there. This metal was in there too. But there's still some stuff back in there. So I'm gonna go get my hose. We'll get it, I got all the ice out though. I was able to just break it off because it was all just isolated to the drain pan. So the defrost heaters are still doing their job. I just need to get whatever that is blown out of the drain. I tried to put all the clips back in because a bunch of the clips had fallen out for the defrost heater, but it's bowing pretty bad in each of the corners, even with the clips. Clips aren't holding it up, so probably gonna have to talk to him about getting a bottom heater for this coil, at a minimum a fan guard. Coil's still in good shape, so I don't see a problem with that. But yeah, I still got to get whatever that is back in there out of that drain. I might have to just get it at the union because there is a union right here. Pull back the insulation, push back the drain heater, and there's a union right here that I could bust off. And then once I get that off, I could undo the 2 screws from the back corner and then pull the whole drain pan down and get whatever that gunk is out of there. Got the drain pan out. It's just a big old chunker. The drain itself Looks pretty clear and open inside, so I don't see a problem there. Changing that defrost heater, yeah, it's got a good old bow in it. Just over time, the heat warps it. So, fun stuff. I just made this out of some fittings, and this is like the perfect tool to get into certain drains, walk-in freezer drains and stuff. This thing works awesome. So I'm gonna get in there and jet the drain out real quick, and then make sure we get all the crap. Even though I got everything out of it, I cleaned the drain pan and everything, I'm still gonna jet the drain too. Actually just busted it off at the Union right there. And we're just going to town. It has its own floor drain outside, so give it a couple good blasts. Go out and have a look at the floor drain and see what's coming out. But it doesn't seem to be pushing back, so I don't think it's plugged up. I'm a little winded right now because I just carried that up here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and replace this contactor because it is really nasty inside there. There's a lot of burning going on. I can see it from here. A lot of that white carbon stuff. I'm going to get that changed out, and we're going to go ahead and go to the style that I like with an auxiliary contact on the side of the contactor. We'll get rid of this relay. So I'm going to start by just unscrewing everything. We'll put the new contactor in place and just kind of do a wire for wire. On the new contactor, I don't have lugs, so I'm going to have to make one with screw connections work. As far as the coil on the new contactor was on the bottom, so I pulled the cover off and switched it around. So that way it's right side up. You do have to trim the cover tab right here when you do that. It's not perfect, but I cleaned it up a little bit in here. It's still kind of polishing a turd. Let's hope it doesn't blow up in my face. It's in defrost. And when it pops out of defrost, let's see what happens here. So we're waiting for the temperature controller. It has a digital temperature controller. There it goes, it kicked in. And then, yeah, we're good to go. This guy's working now. Condenser's running, evaporators have been running for a little bit. We're running a clear sight glass. This unit does not have a head pressure control valve, so it's just a matter of simply clearing the sight glass. All is good with that. I'm gonna clean up my messes up top here and then head downstairs to check on the box. All right, we are back up and running. Everything's good. It's cooling off. Equipment's in pretty bad shape altogether. So I'll definitely bring that up to the customer. Like, the compressor has rust going down the suction line. It looks like it's about to rust out. Like, this whole thing, this equipment's pretty old, and it's throwaway equipment. So, you know, I don't know. It doesn't last as long, this brand, so we will see. I'll talk to the customer, give all the information, but as far as what I was here for today, we are operational and good to go. Oh, I do need to get some insulation on that suction line, on that drain line real quick. I'll get that taken care of before I leave. But as far as the box goes, there's nothing I can do about that. Yeah, they got to replace the panels inside the box, so good luck with that.
Not a huge fan of this equipment. I understand why it exists. It's a budget line equipment that doesn't really last as long. That's why I called it throwaway equipment. And it certainly doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It's functional. It just doesn't have the aesthetics that other equipment has, if that makes sense, right? It's not as pretty as a Heatcraft intelligent evaporator. It doesn't look as nice. It doesn't quite last as long in the customer's eyes. Now, I can certainly fix this equipment. I can change out the compressor because it's rusted. You know, one of the reasons why compressors rust out a lot too is oftentimes when the insulation, the suction line insulation goes all the way up to the compressor. That's a really common cause. And that kind of consolidates all the condensation right at that point where the insulation stops, and it tends to rub up against the body of the compressor. That's one common thing. Same thing with like rotolock valves. If you have steel rotolock valves that have insulation going all the way up to the rotolock valve will rust out faster. So if you cut the insulation back right at the steel point of the valve, maybe a ½ inch back, you'll tend to get a lot less rust on the actual valve itself. So anyways, with this equipment, it can be repaired, right? We can order a new defrost heater. I can order a new fan guard. I can order a new compressor, replace the compressor, eliminate that problem. I already changed the contactor. Like I can fix it all, but it's not my decision. Okay. I realize that I don't explain myself enough in these videos. It is the customer's choice to do what they want. Okay. If I quote all those repairs, the customer will likely say, we'd rather order new equipment. That's their mentality. That's what they have in the corporate structure. You got to understand, this customer has 1,500 to 2,000 restaurants across the United States that are identical. All right, they notice the trends, and so for them, it's more cost effective to spend an extra $4,000 or $5,000 replacing the equipment to extend the longevity of and the operation of that equipment, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's their logic. That's not me. So usually what I do is I'll just go to them and be like, hey, it needs all this. I don't even have to quote it. I just say, hey, we need to put in a compressor, a new defrost heater, and then I just did this work. You know, what do you want me to do? They don't even ask me for a price. They just say, just do it. Or they say, nah, we'll order new equipment. And they order it and they buy it themselves as far as the equipment. They don't buy my parts, but they buy the equipment themselves. So they'll put in the same equipment too. They'll put the same stuff back in, which is fine. It works. Like I said, it's not that I'm saying it's a bad brand. It's just a budget line, right? It's just a cheaper version. And in fact, I mean, that evaporator is a cheaper version of a Russell evaporator. That condenser, I don't know if it's made by Russell, but it's got the same stuff. It's like comes from the same place, I think. I don't know. I don't know who it is, but there's a lot of similarities from RDI and Colpack to Russell or HTPG equipment. It's like there's something there. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me. Does Russell make their own condensing units, or do they have someone else make them? Do they also make the budget line RDI and Colpack? Like there's some sort of thing there, right? I don't know what it is, but you know, to each their own. You know, this equipment can certainly be repaired if the customer wants to do so, but there is nothing I can do to repair the walk-in walls. The aluminum cladding is separating from the walls, and there's no repair for that. I mean, you can bolt it, you can run a bolt through and it'll do something, but there's still vapor and moisture that's getting behind that aluminum cladding that will have condensation that'll freeze and expand even more. So once it starts to separate like that from the foam that's behind there, there's not much more you can do. This customer needs to go ahead and replace the wall sections on this box, which is not something that I do. I do not install walk-in boxes like themselves, the box itself. I do not replace the walk-in boxes. I will install bolt-on doors, and that is it. I'm not opening up wall panels and stuff. They can call a contractor that does construction work to do that, or another company. I don't care. I just don't have the manpower or the ability or the knowledge to replace wall panels. So that's on the customer. I basically give them all the information and let them make those decisions. So it is what it is, right? Hey, I really appreciate you making it to the video, or the end of the video as usual. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Support the channel if you're interested in doing so. You can go to my website, hvacrvideos.com. We have merchandise available there. You can go to truetechtools.com. If you like any of the tools that they have, you can use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word. When you use my offer code, you get an 8% discount on checkout on most items. There's a few things that discount doesn't apply to, but when you use my offer code, again, BIGPICTURE, one word, I get a small commission. So it's a great way to help support the channel. You can also support the channel via PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. But in all honesty, the easiest way to support this channel is just watch the videos from beginning to end. So again, I thank you very much, and we will catch you on the next one.